Okay, we're going to do the second worksheet in just a second here, if I can find it. Is more adding rational functions. So we're going to do a little bit of what we did before, except that things are going to get a little bit trickier on this one because the last one wasn't tricky enough. Okay, on the first one, we need to have common denominator. This has a plus sign, so it stays as itself. It stays 3n plus 4. And then you've got this 2n. I like to put the ones not in parentheses first, but that's just my preference. So on this guy, you have the 3n plus 4, you don't have the 2n, so you put the 2n here and the 2n here, and 3n plus times 2n is 6n squared. On the next guy, you have 2n, but you don't have the 3n plus 4, so we put 3n plus 4. We put 3, what we do to the bottom, we do to the top. Make sure when you distribute, you have a negative 3, so you get negative 9n and then minus 12. Technically, you could look at this and say, hey, 6, 9, and 12 all can go into 3. Like you could factor a 3 out, like we did with the greatest common factor. So 6 divided by 3 is 2n squared minus 3n minus 4. But at this point, that didn't really matter because like nothing's going to end up canceling out. So you could leave this answer or you could leave this answer. At this point in the game, I'm happy with either. Next one. Now, if you want to make your life easier on the next one, I need you to look at this first fraction. This first fraction has a 3k over 3, and you learned when you did exponents that what you have on the bottom and what you have on the top can cancel. I would just cancel that sucker out. And I don't want black, I want blue. Why does this thing not work? So really you have k over 1. And so your common denominator is just k minus 4. So the first fraction has nothing on the bottom, so it needs a k minus 4. And so the top needs the same thing, k minus 4. So k times k gives me k squared. K times 4 gives me minus 4k. This guy already has the k minus 4, so I just add k minus 5. I add like terms in the middle, so I get k squared minus 3k minus 5 all over k minus 4. And that's your answer. For some reason, somebody on a different worksheet asked why we don't distribute the bottom. Like, why don't we distribute this? We just don't. Nobody does. When you get to algebra 3, they won't do it either. Okay, the next guy. They both have a 3x. You could cancel this guy if you wanted. But it's really your life's going to be easier if you don't, to be honest, at this point. So 3k and 3k gives you 3x, I'm sorry, wrong letter, times x plus 2. And so then the first fraction has all of it. He needs nothing, you just have a 5. Plus, this guy has the 3x. He doesn't have x plus 2. X plus 2. And so you get 6x times x gives you 6x squared. 6x times 2 gives you plus 12x. None of those add together. I would write them in order. I would write 6x squared plus 12x plus 5 all over 3x times x plus 2. The next guy has 2k, 2, and k minus 1. So do the outside parts first. The first two have a 2, and you've got a k, but then you also have a k minus 1 in parentheses, and it matters that that's in parentheses. These cannot, like, you cannot just subtract 1 here. You can only multiply a fraction by something. You can't add or subtract a fraction, the top and the bottom, by something. So the first guy has the 2k. He does not have the k minus 1. So I get 4k minus 4. And this guy has the 2. He has the k minus 1. He's just missing a k. I would multiply that, and I would make sure that you take care of this negative. Really, you have, let's write it out. If I have a negative, I would put this k first times k plus 3. And now when you distribute, I would multiply a negative k by that. So you get 4k minus 4. A negative and a negative makes a minus k squared. A negative times 3 gives you minus 3k all over 2k times k minus 1. Add like terms on the top. Your answer should be negative k squared. 4 minus 3 is plus k minus 4 all over 2k k times k minus 1. That's your answer. Okay, let's erase this and scroll down. Maybe. There we go. Okay, we're going to scroll down to 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, on number 5, you've got a 2n and 2n times, or n plus 1 and 4n squared. So the first thing you need to do is to, on the outside part, 2 and 4, I would take a 4, and you got to end of the third out, you need to keep an end of the third, and then the parentheses is n plus 1. And so the 2 needs to become a 4, so I need to multiply it by 2. There's no ends outside, so it needs all 3 of the ends that are outside. And then I have the n plus 1, so that's nice. So I'm taking 2 n to the third times 6 gives me 12 n to the third. This guy, the second guy, has the 4 n to the third. He needs the n plus 1. So you do n plus 1 times n plus 1. You get plus 3 n plus 3. And then that's your answer. Again, 12, 3, and 3 could reduce to, they can all, a 3 can factor out of those. And so you could get 3 on the outside. You get 4 n to the third plus n plus 1 all over 4 n to the third times n plus 1. But nothing cancels, like this 3 and this 4 don't cancel. So it's good to do this. It's not technically necessary in this guy because nothing cancels out. The next guy was just like the last time. We have x minus 5 times x plus 2. The first fraction has the x minus 5, so it needs the x plus 2. If we distribute, we get 6x. If we distribute, we get plus 12. This guy has the x plus 2. He needs the x minus 5. Make sure when you do this that you take negative 5 when you distribute it. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Add like terms. You have 6x minus 5x gives you x. 12 plus 25 gives you plus 37, all over x minus 5 times x plus 2. Okay, next guy. You need a common denominator. You have, let's do some canceling first. This will make life easy. 3 and 3 cancel on the top and the bottom. And then this divides 2, right? This becomes a 1 on the bottom and a 3 on the top. So then your common denominator should just be k plus 5. This has a k plus 5. So when this cancels out, there's like a 1 up there. This does not. So you have to multiply by k plus 5, k plus 5. In all of this canceling, don't forget to go back and look at the middle. You've got a negative sign in the middle. So negative 3 times k is minus 3k. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. So then you add by terms, the 1 and the 15. So your best answer is negative 3k minus 14 all over k plus 5. Ooh, that was nice. This guy, now this is tricky because there's a 2 and an m and a 2 and an m, but one outside the parentheses, one is with the plus sign, so you can't really fix that. So you have the 2 on the outside, you have the m minus 2, and you have a 2m plus 3. So there's a lot going on there. This guy has the first 2. He needs 2m plus 3. So let's distribute that out. I feel like I need a skinnier pen. 3 times 2 gives me 6m squared. 3m times 3 gives me plus 9m. Now, the next guy's got a little bit of trickiness to it, so I'm going to kind of do the next one in 2 different steps. Because he needs this whole thing. He needs the 2 and the n minus 2. So he needs 2 and m minus 2. He needs 2 and m minus 2. So I would do this chunk right here first. I would say negative 5m times 2 is a negative 10m times m minus 2. And then I would distribute. So I would get 6m squared plus 9m. And this gives me a negative 10m squared. A negative and a negative gives you a plus 20m, all over 2 times m minus 2 times 2m plus 3. And then I would go see what I can do about adding like terms. You've got 6m squared minus 10m squared gives you negative 4m squared. And 9 plus 20m gives me 29m, all over 2 times n minus 2 times 2m plus 3. And that's a kind of a beast, but it's fine. Really, if you get like half of this worksheet, like you're an all-star. Like if you're a little bit confused, you should be. This is a pretty complicated thing, but it's something we're supposed to do, so we're supposed to do it. So only 2 more left. Okay, the next two say, the next two I have, this guy has, none of these are alike. Let's make this easier. Look at this. This, we're going to make a 1, and this, we're going to make a 3 to make our life easier. So we're going to have a common denominator of 3, x plus 2 times 5x plus 1 is going to be our common denominator. This guy has the x plus 2 and the 5x plus 1, so all he needs is a 3. So if I take that and I multiply that, I get 18x and then minus 18. This guy needs an awful lot. He needs both of those, so he needs x plus 2 times 5x plus 1. And he needs x plus 2 times 5x plus 1. And so the bottom's good. And then this part, because there's a 1 out here, I would distribute that. Well, we're going to put the minus point in parentheses. X times 5x is 5x squared. X times 1 is x. 2 times 5 is 10x, and 2 times 1 is 2. This becomes a hot mess. I would technically add like terms first. I would say 1 plus 10 gives me 11x. And then I would distribute the negative sign. So I have 18x minus 18, and then I have minus 5x squared, minus 11x, and minus 2, all over 3 times x plus 2 times 5x plus 1. And then I would add like terms and from in order. 5x squared is by itself, so negative 5x squared. X's, I've got 18 minus 11 gives you plus 7x. And then negative 18 minus 2 gives you minus 20, all over 3 times x plus 2 times 5x plus 1. Whew. That's a lot of red ink, man. Okay, and the last guy, you need a common denominator. Even though these both have 4s, this is part of a quantity because it's adding 4, so you cannot do anything to that. So your common denominator is 4 times 3b plus 4. This part has a 3b, it needs a 4. And so 4 times 4 gives us 16. This has the 4, so it needs the 3b plus 4. And so this is a 3b plus 4. And so then if you distribute, 3 times 3 is 9b squared. 3 times 4 gives me 12b. And I'm just going to put this in order because math teachers like things in order. 9b squared plus 12b plus 16 all over 4 times 3b plus 4. Whew, done.